is EC Bellot. Welcome to this video presentation. In today's video presentation, I'll be looking at the gluten connection with celiac disease. In my last video presentation, I looked at the gluten connection with non-celiac gluten sensitivity. So if you missed that video, I suggest that you go back and have a look at that one before looking at this one. Do you suffer from any of the following symptoms? Stomach pains, gas, cramping, bloating, constipation, diarrhea? Have you ever thought that this may be connected to wheat? So what is celiac disease? Celiac disease is a lifelong autoimmune condition where the person's body attacks itself after ingesting wheat or being exposed to wheat. 1 in 100 persons in the UK have this condition, but it's estimated that for 500,000 people who have this condition, they've not yet been diagnosed. And this is a serious problem because what celiac disease does, it damages the intestinal lining, causing increased intestinal permeability. So what that means is that you won't absorb your nutrient as you should. So for example, iron, if you don't absorb iron, you'll become anemic. If you don't absorb calcium, you'll get osteoporosis. So let's look now at some of the other extraintestinal symptoms that you may experience. So you may experience bone and joint pain, leg and arm numbness, muscle cramps, osteoporosis, anemia, brain fog, fatigue, infertility, miscarriage, depression. There's a whole host of symptoms that you may experience. And there's over 19,000 medical literature that identifies over 200 conditions that is linked with celiac disease. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, said all disease begins in the gut. So how would you identify if you've got this condition? Well, testing is done by way of blood tests or by biopsy. And in fact, 2 genes have been identified with this condition. So once you've been confirmed that you have celiac disease, then the way to go is a gluten-free diet. And if you'd like some more information about testing, because not all testing are equal, then do check out my Facebook page where I do have some information on there. So once you've been identified, you have to be extra vigilant in terms of when you go out to eat or when you're shopping, because wheat is in a lot of unlikely places. For example, who would have thought you'd find it in ice cream or soy sauce? It's in biscuits, it's in crackers, it's in imitation meat and poultry. It's in a number of places. It's also in medication and supplements. It's also in personal care items. So you have to be extra vigilant because the morbidity rate is 6 times higher for those not complying with a gluten-free diet than for those who comply. And non-compliance is said to be being exposed to gluten for, say, just once a month. And that could be a minute exposure, just 1 minute exposure to gluten. For example, cross-contamination or just by inhaling the wheat. Then just that 1 minute exposure, you could have elevated antibodies for up to 3 to 6 months. And why is this important? Because all that time it's doing damage to your microvilli. This is where you absorb your nutrient. For some people, they might get symptoms immediately. It could be a week later, it could be a month later, it could be years later. But when you think of it, that all that time damage is taking place. And the damage that is being done is setting up inflammation in the body, and it's also that with that inflammation comes the autoimmune conditions, things like MS, multiple sclerosis. It could be things like vitiligo, where you get white spots on the skin. It could be things like lupus. It could be a number of different autoimmune conditions. So this is why being vigilant is extra important. And once you've been identified, as I said before, being vigilant is going to be important, but also going on a plant-based diet. God has given us a number of different foods that we can eat, things that are not refined, not processed, and there you find your vitamins, your mineral, and your phytonutrients. So whatever you eat, whatever you drink, do all to the glory of God. In my next video presentation, I'll be looking at wheat allergy. If you like this video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button below, and see you next time. Thank you for watching.